Being exactly 2 months away before Spider-Man No Way Home comes out around Christmas Day, like you, we are also extremely excited for Peter Parker. After the incredible movie Spider-Man Far From Home, MCU has come up with some exciting plots for Peter Parker. At the climax of Spider-Man 2, Peter is left framed for murder as well as his identity disclosed by Mysterio. Well, that really reveals things aren't going to be pleasant for Spider-Man. Anyway, we have a few hints on what the web-headed guy is going to face next, and what villain is waiting for him. Today, let's see what MCU has in store for us with their forthcoming Spider-Man 3. Well, we all have watched the trailer many times, and there's a couple of fan theories that we'd like to share around. In the trailer, we hear Doctor Strange telling Peter about how keeping a secret identity is looking pretty dangerous right now, and we see Peter questioning his friends still knowing it after a spell is performed. We have already watched enough superhero movies to know where this is going, right? We believe this movie will talk about identity and whether or not it's a good idea to live a double life, something we don't remember being explored on a massively big scale in previous superhero movies. So this movie has the potential to be something special if done right, which it absolutely will be. This could also play into what we predict to be Peter's arc in this movie, where he'll be looking at other versions of Spider-Man and maybe do some comparison. So perhaps the theme of identity will work in multiple ways, talking about whether or not it's a good idea to have a double life, while also having Peter find his own identity as Spider-Man. This arc is something that would be consistent with his character in the MCU so far, as in both of his movies, he's had an arc about his own something. In Homecoming, he had to learn to be a self-reliant superhero without the special suit that Stark made for him. And in Far From Home, he had to learn to become his own superhero. Not going to comment on whether or not I thought these arcs were good for the Spider-Man character, but I will say No Way Home's likely arc of Spider-Man becoming his own hero will probably the best of these, since in the other two movies, the arcs were flawed. In Homecoming's case, Dude Spidey was using the special suit for only a few months, and he didn't even have the special features for more than a week. And in Far From Home, the arc is a bit clouded by the fact that he made his new suit out of Stark's tech, and the Iron Man trailer music playing, heavily implying Spidey was, wait for it, yes, the new Iron Man. Overall, the arcs still work in the narrative, but they have not done the best of their ability. We're thinking the Spider-Man No Way Home's arc will be the best of these, as it'll be a completion of the overall MCU Spider-Man trilogy arc. Spider-Man No Way Home will be a thematically constant film that talks about secret identities for superheroes and makes a very decent arc for Spider-Man this time. It's good to hear that Spider-Man is coming back, as it was first removed from the whole MCU and Disney, and Sony couldn't get to a deal. And thankfully, the two companies have discussed their differences and have come up with the new movie. Anyway, the rumors speak. This will be the last of Spider-Man as a solo, and there will be a team-up film, which we don't know for sure. Who knows if Tom Holland could keep up as Disney's Spider-Man and in Sony's burgeoning villain verse. Don't skip, wait for a little surprise on it. Anyway, let's get back to Spider-Man 3. There's a lot to speak about, and we can't wait to share it with you guys. There's a crucial question that should be discussed in the new movie. Does J. Jonah Jameson change the way people look at the character, or does Peter Parker have to change? With the Daily Bulge making the public believe that Spider-Man is a public menace, we think things are going to be very tough for Peter Parker. His whole normal high school student life is crashed, as Flash Thompson is going to want him around the law, so he can't just stroll into the class. But there are other factors than this, like his love life. With his identity now disclosed, he might want to distance himself from MJ, as the cliché act of villains could target the hero's loved ones. That also implies to Aunt May and Happy. Will Peter Parker go underground sacrificing his beautiful life to be Spider-Man? Maybe Spider-Man will have to face both the public hatred and his fiends. Pretty stressful, right? Villains are the most important part of the whole Spider-Man franchise. We've got members already established in the MCU, such as the Vulture and Mysterio, who might have faked their death, which we are not sure about. We're seeing Spider-Man's villains from the other two movies franchises reappearing like Doc Ock and some hints of the Green Goblin. Yeah, why not establish one of the most popular supervillain teams in the comic onto the big screen in an already monumentally large on-scale Spider-Man movie, right? There is more to it. We've also seen Scorpion, slightly mentioned in the Homecoming. This does sound likely, given the conditions of a multiverse and the Sony-Marvel deal. A multiversal Sinister Six is looking much likely to me, and we bet it's going to be incredible. MCU tried its best to make its previous films worthy by including too many villains, like Spider-Man 2 and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 3. All these movies were criticized for their abundance of sinister characters, so Marvel is most probably going to assemble the Sinister Six against the Spidey to give the audience a new taste. Looking at the Homecoming 2, we see the same, as it shows Scorpion and the Vulture, who will definitely be making a comeback. Looking at the comics, Spidey's oldest villain character is Chameleon, aka Dmitry Smirnov, who is shown in Spider-Man 2 as a part of S.H.I.E.L.D. And who knows, if he's working in the shadows, MCU writers could be very creative at some points, especially in making sinister characters. Well, let's take a whole different view of it. Yes, it's what you were waiting for. How about Doctor Strange splitting the timelines? To be honest, after Venom 2's post-credit scene, we think this is inevitable at this point. Do you guys remember when the Ancient One splits timelines in Marvel's What If series, Episode 4, when she split Doctor Strange into two timelines? I think that's how MCU Spider-Man and the Venomverse are going to be connected, considering how it's said that the MCU and Sony deal will make more in-universe sense when Spider-Man No Way Home arrive in theaters. We're thinking that the post-credit scenes we saw in Venom 2 wasn't implying the Venom was set in the MCU universe, but that the timelines were slamming into each other and merging into each other after Spider-Man and Doctor Strange screwed up that spell, which absolutely makes sense, contemplating what else is going to gape about in this movie. The whole idea of Doctor Strange going to split Spider-Man's timeline, and one of those is going into the Venomverse partying with the remaining of the Spider-Man characters, is really fascinating. And there are many things that occurred which might confirm that Venom is going to arise in the new Spider-Man 3 movie. According to many articles, it also says the Venom director states about a crossover with Spider-Man, which means Venom could appear in the new Spider-Man movie, or Spider-Man is going to appear in the next Venom movie. Let's speak at something else. A team of villains focused on one person. That's insane! With Spidey's current dilemma with his identity, there's nothing much more unusual. Who will be the leader of the Sinister Six? Well, there needs to be someone who makes the decision. Two answers to this, either the Green Goblin or Doc Octopus. Both show great vengeance towards Peter and enough leadership skills, if that's something concerning to decide who's the boss. Same as in the comics, the name Sinister Six sounds cool, doesn't it? What would you guys call them? Ha! Mention it in the comments. It might seem like a lot of villains coming at once, but thinking of it also makes it a great plot for the movie. So anyways, those are the little theories and predictions for the upcoming MCU Christmas movie, Spider-Man No Way Home. These all look likely if you ask us. And while we are more than happy to be proven right, what else would you guys wish to see in the movie? Drop it in the comments. That's about it for today. Make sure to like, share and subscribe. We hope you enjoyed the video. We will meet again in the next one.